this is Chuck Allred, and I'd like to share a couple things that you can maybe consider if you're going to play my arrangement of All Gummed Up Inside from Adventure Time. The sheet music and the tablature is up on my website for free. I'll have that listed down in the information below this video. And this arrangement was a little bit tricky in a couple different ways. So I wanted to share a few things about kind of how I got around some obstacles to hopefully help you do the same thing. So let's get right to it. In a previous lesson video about my arrangement of Everything Stays, I talked a lot about playing the melody on its own, practicing singing it and shaping it and all that kind of stuff. It's so important that I'm going to mention it again. I won't talk about it too much, maybe, but let me play it through one time. So if you need some help picking it out, hopefully this will help you. And then as I'm playing it through, I'm not just going to play the notes and say, okay, this is the melody, you know, good for me. I'm going to try and sing it and shape it, maybe even do some things that when I add in all the other notes, maybe I can't use all these things. Maybe I can't use as much vibrato or the exact same type of sound. But one of the goals here is to always be thinking this way. And also, if you figure out a very cool moment that you did when you were just singing the melody, when you add everything else back in, you're going to really want to hear that. And I bet you can find a way to make it happen. But if you don't even know that that moment can exist, guess what? You'll never do it. So you can use this to find really cool moments. And then when you put everything else back in, that's why you practice, to make this stuff come out. Okay, so I'll play through the melody once. Kind of trying out musical ideas and just pretending like I'm a singer. I have one line to sing, but I'm singing through the guitar. So hopefully that can help you if you need it. Pick out the melody and try out some musical things. It's just a line that Finn is singing in the show, right? And then BMO's like beep beeps and stuff are the accompaniment, which I've kind of changed for this arrangement because it would be very difficult to literally do that kind of accompaniment on the guitar, although it would sound great if someone can make it work. So do that kind of work. Work may not be the right word. Enjoy doing that kind of stuff. It's one of the best things about playing the guitar. And so really get into it. How can I sing this? How can I try it in different ways? Trust me, if you get into it a little bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you sit down and you say, okay, I saw this video, the guy said to play the melody, so I'm going to do it 5 times. You're probably not going to really get much done, okay? You really have to search, and once you figure out something that you like and you want to bring out, okay, then when you add everything else in, that will be a priority, because you're like, oh, you know, that really cool moment wasn't happening, and it's a really big deal. Okay, I've probably talked too much about that anyway. So that's step number 1 when you're playing a piece like this. Okay, after that, I wanted to mention kind of a specific technique that helped me do just that, sing the melody in this arrangement. Um, One of the types of music I really like to listen to is flamenco guitar music. Um, Flamenco guitarists can do some incredible things, and the style is very different from like classical guitar in some ways. Um, but man, you can learn so much from these people because their technical ability is just amazing. So I was studying this one flamenco piece um, by a guitarist named Juan Martin, and had this intro. Sorry, I'm kind of screwing it up, but it has this technique in it where in the top voice you get this type of sound, and the main note is played with your thumb, and the other fingers, this fingering is index, ring, middle, index, thumb. The other fingers are like an ornament to it, and then you play the whole chord, you get that kind of sound. And you'll see it in other music too. So I was introduced to that technique, and kind of a version of it comes very much in handy in this arrangement of All Gummed Up Inside. The reason is, unlike, for instance, the Everything Stays arrangement, a lot of this piece I'm playing full chords, and the melody is the top note. So 5 or 6 strings, usually just 5 strings. So you don't want the melody to get buried in those types of techniques. So what I ended up doing was strumming the chord with my thumb, and then just making sure that it played the melody note loudly enough. Okay. Where this flamenco technique kind of comes in handy is a lot of times you have repeated notes. So I would do something like, what is it? Ring, middle, index, thumb. And it really helps. And that way I didn't have to worry about doing some weird finger combination for the chord. It was just thumb, very simple. Or something like that. So, and if you watch the video, you see me do it, and you can look at where it's implemented. Basically, it's any place where you have those repeated notes on top, and then you're going to strum the chord on the beat, and you want to finish also with a strong melody note. So if you want to cultivate this technique, pick a chord. How about C major? So first of all, practice playing the chord with your thumb only, and make sure the first string is, I guess, the loudest note, you would say. And you're not getting this. You know, go through the strings, but your goal is that first string. And you can pick any chord. How about E major? So really you're hearing, and there's just a chord in front of it. Okay, even like a bar chord, like maybe A major bar chord, let's do that. If you know the Concerto de Aranjuez, guess what? This isn't something I came up with. It's used a lot. So you don't hear, no, you hear the chord, but there's your melody. That's what you want to hear. So get used to playing your thumb with that technique and making sure it's like a combination of enough power to get through the strings, but grace so that when you land on the first string, it's not too much. That's too much. You can shape it. Okay, once you can do that with all your chords, you can very easily write a piece this way. Let's add in the other fingers. So we're going to do ring, middle, index, thumb. Let's go back to C major. And you can practice this on one string. You can just do ring, middle, index, thumb. And then put the chord in. And play whatever chord you want and practice this technique. It's going to come in handy, I promise, if you play these types of arrangements for the guitar. And you want it to be comfortable enough to where you're not really thinking about it when you play the piece, because you want to be thinking about what you want to do musically. So that fits into the piece in a lot of different places. It simplified it for me. And the other thing I'll mention, I only thought to do that because I'd seen, I'd studied a flamenco piece where he did that technique, a version of it, right? So it's just to say, look at other guitar music, look at other guitar styles. You're going to learn some stuff, I promise, especially if it's, a good guitarist like Juan Martin. You can learn a lot of interesting stuff. And then, I mean, I can't really play flamenco. I can fake it, but I don't know how to. If I was going to play flamenco, I might try to do something like this. Know what kind of, I mean, I hear them, but I'm not really adept at getting the kind of sounds that they use. But this technique was very useful to me in making this arrangement. I just used kind of a different version of it, and it felt very natural because I had already worked on cultivating it. So you can take things like that, right? I always encourage people, if they see one of these guitar videos or someone makes an arrangement, it's worth looking at, where they come from, where these techniques come from, because if you're not very careful, you just might get interested in a whole new genre of music that you didn't even used to know exist, and that would be great. So look at flamenco, look at classical guitar. That's where all this stuff comes from, right? Okay, so that's a very useful technique to practice. You can use it in this piece. You can use it in your own pieces. And come up with a different version of the technique. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. Okay, so we've talked about melody, the flamenco technique. There's one more thing I want to mention specifically, which is a specific way I use the bar technique. Or barré, they say in France, or sahia in Spanish. So that just means you're going to use your first finger and you're going to hold down more than one string with the first finger, okay? In classical guitar technique, we do this thing called a hinge bar all the time, where this is like a full bar because it's going across every string on the same fret. And I'm not actually pressing down. I'm only pressing down. I'm not actually pressing down on every single string. I'm only pressing down on these three, because these other three are fretted by the fingers. So I don't need to press them down. But this would be an example of like a full bar. Okay. We also do this thing called the hinge bar, where we use that the very edge of our bar finger to fret a note, maybe on the first or second, maybe even third string. It can come very much in handy, and it does in this arrangement. Because there's a lot of times in this piece where you need to hinge bar the C and then bring down the rest of your finger for the full bar. Let me find a spot. Did you see it? So right there, almost immediately, this is our first little phrase. And then here we go. Here's the hinge bar. But I gotta let that note ring into the next melody note, because that's the melody, right? Our all-important melody. And that's the smoothest way I can think of to do it. That doesn't cut it for me. If you can do that, then good for you. Do it if it sounds good. But I had to use a hinge bar here, and it happens over and over in the piece. And I would practice it slowly, just like the sequence of movements. So, I'm going to do fourth finger on this D right here. I'm going to slur, which means I'm just going to pluck it with the left hand, right? Or pull off, whatever you want to call it. Well, the pull off implies this. That's not what we're doing. We're plucking, okay? And before I pluck, I got to make sure the hinge bar is down on the C, the first fret on the second string. And then it also catches the F on the first string. And then I've got my full F major bar chord. And then here, so I can catch that, what note is that, A flat? I can catch that A flat. So, and I wrote in the music, I think I just put like a symbol for bar. So I wanted to explain it, you know. Because I don't like to bar before I absolutely need it, because it's hard. It uses so much energy. So I can play for much longer and be much less fatigued if I only bar right when I need it and then get right off. So that's what I'm doing here. Only need it on this string. And it comes up again. So work that into your practice. I practice that a lot. Probably as much on this arrangement as anything else, if I had to guess. You know, do it a little bit. If your hand gets tired, rest, come back to it. You know you're doing it well if the music sounds smooth. And you may be feeling a little bit of tension, or, you know, you may be thinking like, oh, this is hard. But if it sounds easy and full and connected, then you're doing good work. If your bars start to buzz, that's where you want to work the technique. And hey, if you're like, I'm not exactly sure what it would sound like if everything is full and connected, guess what? Play the melody on its own, so you can get that nice, great sound. It's the best sound that you can get, unobstructed, right? And then work it back into your bar work. So it's the same. Right? I think a pretty good way to practice these is, if you know a scale pattern that goes across the neck, like, how about A major scale? Okay, that's how you would play it normally. Put your bar finger down. Don't press, but just put it and leave it there. And then only try and press the fret when you need it over each specific string when you get there. I think it's a pretty good exercise. So again, I'm going to leave my bar finger here. I'm going to use it here, 5th string. Now I've relaxed the bar finger, but it's still in position. I'm going to use it here, 4th string. Now relax it. Use it here for 3rd string. Relax it. You don't need it on the 2nd string for this scale. Use it here for 1st string. And it can teach you to use different parts of your bar finger. There's a classical guitarist named, oh God, I hope I say her name right, Gohar Vardanyan, I think. She's incredible, and she can do like any combination of barring. Like she can bar any string and not bar any string that she wants. Like she could only bar like sixth and fourth and like second, but not bar first and third and fifth or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It's really incredible. I don't know exactly how she does it, but she has a video on it. You should look it up. Gohar Vardanyan. Maybe I'll try and find it and put it in the information. But work the hinge barring that way, and then when you come to stuff like this, it's no big deal. All right. Okay. I've probably talked for long enough. I think I'll end this lesson by playing through the piece one time. I'll mention anything out loud if I think of it, just to kind of give you some help if there's a tricky spot, maybe what helped me through it, and that'll probably be enough, don't you think? Okay, let's see. Here's a hinge bar. This is pluck, pluck, slur. And you gotta have the hinge bar down fast. Here, I'm gonna try to kind of start off a little soft and build momentum, like we're going somewhere. With each chord. Toughest chord for me in the whole piece. So G sharp here, and then, or what is that, A flat, G sharp, I don't know. And try to make this all one thing. I know there's a big shift in the middle, but that's the phrase. And this chord fingering for me is a little weird. Thumb, 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 index. That's the only thing that I could make work. Every time you have that E7 chord, thumb, 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 index. So you can try that, because I've got ring, middle, so what I have left is this. Or you could do all thumb, but I felt like I couldn't make it work. It didn't feel secure. That's the only time I use that fingering for chord playing in the piece. And then right here, you've got a bunch of E's. Try not to make them sound like a bunch of E's. Make sure that they're going somewhere. It's kind of hard to do, but try to get the impression that they're going to that last E. And this is your new phrase. Sorry, I messed it up. So make sure that you don't stop the momentum or the continuity until you get to that A flat. What is it? We're coming to an end, so I'm slowing down, getting a little warmer. And then nice and slow. For the last chord, make it special. Whenever you have one chord left in a piece or one note, pretty much anytime you think well, I just have to play this note or I have to do this. No, it's an opportunity for you to do something really special and creative. Think of it that way, okay? How do you do that? You got to try stuff out first. So if you're going to play this arrangement, take this last chord. What I did on the video was what was it? I think it was this. Very warm sound over the fingerboard. And big drawn out arpeggio, okay? You could do that. That's fine. But try stuff out. Whatever whatever sounds really special to you. It'll really make the piece like sound like it really is supposed to be that way. Or do an effect, I don't know, different sound, right? That's just an artificial harmonic. I'm touching the 15th fret, plucking behind it with my thumb while I hold this low G on the 6th string. Artificial harmonic. It's the same note as this. That might have been a cool way to end it. Maybe I should have thought about doing that. But try some stuff out. You're setting it up. You know, you're slowing down. So do something cool. I don't know. But come up with something special, right? That's the last thing the audience is going to hear when you play this piece. So drive it home and practice that moment. So when you get to it, sometimes those slow moving moments, especially if you really set them up, you got to practice executing them. So when you play them in front of people or in front of the camera or whatever, in a pressure situation where you want to nail it, it's just you just want to be very natural with it. This is an interpretation of your own creativity. So practice bringing that out. I know I can do this. I know the sound before I play it. Like, it's going to have to sound like this. And then I just get that sound. And I practice going to it. I practice getting into it. So it's not... What would that be? Something, I don't know. So, it's no big deal, and you can just enjoy ending the piece that way. Okay, I think I've talked long enough, don't you think? I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. Or you can contact me through my website, charlesalexanderallred.com. And if you need one-on-one help, you're in luck, because I do offer video lessons for the cheapest price I've ever seen with my own eyes. So there's no shame in that. I would love to help you. I'm a music teacher, so I have to charge something for it. Or find your own music teacher. You know, any guitar teacher, any classical guitar teacher can help show you these things, and really get you started. And then, since I've talked long enough, I'll say one more thing. Don't give up. A lot of times I get comments from people and they want to be shown how to do something. And it's pretty much impossible. A lot of playing an instrument is you getting in there and working at it. Sometimes beating your head against the wall. Really, literally failing over and over. Until you finally break through and you know what it feels like. Because I can say, or a teacher can say, or someone else can say, oh, do this. And people do. You want to learn this technique? Oh, do this. Do this. Just do it. That doesn't mean anything to you. You've got to understand every movement that goes into it and how to execute it. It has to make sense in your brain, and then your muscles have to be trained to do it. It just takes time and effort. But oh my God, it's worth it, okay? This is art we're talking about. This music, Adventure Time, you know, as far as I have read, we have records of guitarists and other instrumentalists playing folk music, studying classically, or playing dance music, or playing opera music, or whatever. And they also play folk music of their time, and they arrange it. That's the exact same thing that this is, okay? I'm a classical guitarist. You know, I can play a Bach suite, or, you know, Heitor Villa-Lobos etudes, or modern classical guitar music, okay? If you don't know what that stuff is, look it up. Look it up. But this, to me, is modern folk music. And it's just as important as any of that other stuff. It's just as relevant. It may not be crafted in the same kind of way. But it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, and it's worth investigating. Sometimes you got to kind of look behind the techniques behind the players, kind of see where they're come from, to see what they're talking about, and that is totally worth it. It just takes work. It takes time and energy and effort, and you got to want to, right? You don't really understand sometimes what it means to want to learn something. I'm always finding out what it means to want to learn something. And it's always like, oh, I thought I wanted to learn this. I wanted to as much as I knew how, but now I'm realizing I actually didn't want to. Now I'm finding out this is what it means to want to do this. So go through that process. There's no shame in that, and you'll be better for it. Also, if you're watching this video, you most likely have access to the internet. Use it to your advantage. You can find out all of this stuff that I'm talking about. Classical guitar music, how to arrange music, how to read music notation. If you don't know how to read music notation, that's okay. Just don't be scared of it. Yeah? Look into it a little bit. What does it mean? What are the notes on the guitar? What are the notes of the open strings? It's a good place to start. Take a song you know. Okay, you learn this song. Let's say you learn the tab. You have the arrangement that I've made that also has it in notation. So you can compare the two. Okay, this is this passage in tablature. This is what it looks like in notation. Okay, he said the melody is all the notes with the stems going up. Okay, find what those notes are. You'll start to make connections. This is an E. This is a G. This is an F. This is a C. Yeah, and then you'll build on your knowledge that way. You don't have to become a music reading expert, but if you're going to look at this kind of stuff, it'll be worth your while. Okay, this is all just me ranting, and also hopefully stuff to help you cultivate your knowledge about guitar playing, about playing fingerstyle arrangements. None of these things are particular to this arrangement. They are all things that you will find when you're trying to play a number of different types of pieces on a classical guitar or steel string guitar, anything that has to do with fingerstyle. If you stayed with me to this point, I congratulate you on your attention span. Thank you for putting up with my ranting. Let me know if you have any questions or comments of any kind. I don't mind. And enjoy playing this arrangement. Work on it, polish it, play the heck out of it. Put up your own video. I'd love to see you play this arrangement. Make the video, play it however you want. It doesn't have to be some super produced thing. Record it on your iPhone. Yeah, just share it with people. It can be really fun to do and a reward for all your hard work. If you go through all these steps, it can be very good. Okay, thank you very much, and have a great day.